Alright, so let me see if I can predict the future in real time. So Keystone, Camper, Premier, flashing lights on a car on the side of the road. Some cars broke down with lights flashing. It's a copy machine. You're in a copy machine. Now enrolling. Duty collision. D-O-O-D-Y. It's weird, ain't it? Oh, it's almost had a collision. That guy. These people are mentally unstable nowadays. I promise you. That guy, as I hit my brakes, he pulled over. Humane Society, low cost donate. Probably a collision. Somebody broke down. Look at that. Remember that car that was just flashing back there? They were on the side of the road with the lights flashing to see how it repeated. And it happened really fast. Everything's a repeat. Everything's a copy. What has been shall be. What shall be has been. The pattern repeats. There's no new thought. You're just in a cycle, and you think you have something new, but it might be new to you, but it's not new. It's already been. Well, how can it already been? Because God wrote it before the foundation of the world. He already prepared everything before it appeared. He already knew about electronics. He already knew the electronics is the elect, right? Now look, there's a red, white, and blue flag right there on that machine, on that truck, right? That's so obvious, it's not even funny. So that'll repeat somewhere down the road here. If you really get in a true meditative state where you cut off the noise and all, notice that trailer behind the truck. It's probably electric, probably a welding machine, probably. If you get in a true meditative state, you can know when somebody's going to show up. Somebody's going to call, somebody's going to text. You'll get like a pre-thought, because like I say, everything's a copy machine, made in His image. What is an image? A copy. So everything has already been. See that car broke down on the side of the road? See if the lights are flashing. Remember, we just had one broke down, the lights flashing, then we had one with the lights flashing. And then we saw the collision sign, and somebody almost hit me in the rear right as I said it. It's all repeating, people. See this stuff repeating? If you don't want to face off with the reality the way it is, you might as well cut this off now, because you're gonna have a moment where you're like, your reality is gonna just break apart. You're gonna have to reshift. Everything you believed is gonna be destroyed, and you have to rebuild it based on the fact that it's all a copy machine, made in His image. The word image is copy. That's why when they write a book, it's copyright. It is written. There's some flags, but there's the American flag, but I'm not even gonna count that one because that's there every day. I'm not even gonna count that flag. So, back to the phone calls and the text. If it's somebody that you've talked to before, and even not talked to, the system has to send a copy. Whatever you're thinking, whatever you're doing, the system has to send a copy because it's a copy machine. And so you're leaving an imprint even with your thoughts. And so there's no difference between 5D, 3D, and 2D and 1D. It's going to appear. It has to. So like right now, if you turn over the American flag and you see, look at that. 1,000. I was getting ready to say, as you turn the American flag over in your mind. And yeah, this counts because I've never paid attention to this before. See all these American flags on these cars? And I was getting ready to say, as you turn the truth over in your mind, I was going to say, as you turn the American flag over in your mind. As soon as I started saying it, appeared. As you turn something over in your mind, cut, turn, union, and flow, it has to appear because you have to union with it in a copy machine. You might say, how is it a copy? That's not right, or that's not fair, or why are we in a copy machine? God made man in his image. God said to be fruitful and multiply, reproduce, make copies. Adam and Eve was told to make copies. And not only is the American flag on those cars right there, and I shouldn't even count those, but it's right here on this red, white, and blue right here on this sign. But every one of these cars has an American flag on it. Somebody believes in the American flag, don't they? I'm not even going to count that. It's going to appear again. But as you turn stuff over in your mind, it's connected at every level. 5D, 3D, 2D, 1D, 12D, whatever. And you might say, that's impossible. No, it's not. It's the hologram. It's the fractal hologram. It's actually the archetype of all things. What is God doing in this earth plane? Making copies of Jesus. Christ in you, the hope of glory. You can see it when the man and woman have a baby because they're making a copy of themselves. And so spiritually, you're being made into a copy. But the reason people don't see it is because they don't stay aware. They let the noise and the distractions of life mess with them. Now you might say, well, that American flag on that concrete truck appeared, but those other flags were there first. That was a transient thing. Those other things were static. And so, yeah, so the script knew I was going to go this way, and the American flag had to appear as a precog. Because sometimes you say, well, is it before or after? Is the both, the precog and the postcog, because it's always been. Like right here, the whole truth's right in front of you. Orange is walking in the Spirit. Here's the crossway. Here's the black, white, and red, the cross. There's the crosswalk. There's Cain versus Abel. Tree, true, faithful faith. The whole Bible's right here. Flesh versus spirit. Rub, the traffic is rubbing, to turn. The word rub goes back to turn, to rub off, turn signal. Sign of the cross, the signs. The signs are everywhere. I'm looking for American flag, another one. The signs are everywhere. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. About 20 years ago, somebody made a prank call on me, and the call said, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. I don't know if that was like an Illuminati attack by some agent or whatever. I think I know who it was, and I find out years later that person's part of the Masonic system, you know. You had one guy on the Alex Jones say, the Freemasons are not a part of the system. He was on the crazy. He hadn't woke up yet. Luciferian, they believe in Lucifer? I don't think so. Hello? All I can tell you is everything has to repeat. And the reason is the archetype. God made man in his image. He told man and woman to be fruitful and multiply, which is a copy. When you put a piece of paper on a copy machine, the drum turns. Turn goes back to vulva. It's all based on Adam and Eve in the natural, but the archetype in the spiritual is God is making sons of God. So the earth plane is really simple. It's a copy machine. And there's 4 root words: cut, turn, union, and flow. And if you get that and you control your thoughts, create copies out here, because your mind is spirit. Be renewed in the spirit of your mind. It has to be this easy, because if it was complicated, we wouldn't be able to function. In other words, so here's an intersection. Now I know when I go up here, there's another intersection that's like a copy of this, because if it wasn't the same, I wouldn't know how to function. If I went up here and it was a Bizarro Land intersection, I wouldn't. Look, there's the American flag. Look, told you. See how it copied? I wasn't planning on coming this way. I'm talking about the intersection. There's the American flag. See it? They got an American flag. 2 of them on this street. So here's the intersection. If this intersection was not a copy of the previous intersection, I wouldn't know how to function. Listen, this is the proof. This is the simple proof. If it was different, I wouldn't know how to function. That's why everything's a copy. Let me say it. Let me show you with this example here. If that bottom piece of siding, well, let's forget the starter piece. They're all the same, though, even the starter. If the bottom piece was different than the middle piece, you wouldn't know how to do it. You wouldn't know how to. It would take you forever. If this telephone pole was different than that telephone pole, it would mess up the flow. Everything's a copy. Everything's a pattern after the pa. If you can hear what I'm telling you, those steps, okay, there's a code. There's a building code that says those steps have to be a certain size. If you change the height, you would trip. They have to be a copy after the other one. You would expect when you're walking up that step, you would trip. It wouldn't make sense. And so if if this intersection was different than the other one, maybe it was a roundabout, or if it was something totally bizarre land, you say, well, wait a minute. This intersection is not like the rest of them. You wouldn't know what to do. If another human if you meet up with a human and they had 4 or 5 arms, it wouldn't make sense to you. You wouldn't understand it. It's all copies. The reason the human has arms and 2 legs, TWO is 2, which is Tau, which is together. If 2 become 1, and that's the root of this thing, union, two become one, and union to make a copy, then what does that mean? That together is the root word of this reality. To bring the elect saints back together with God, back home to God. That's the root of this whole thing. It's not about your silly goals in life. It's about you being brought back to God by faith in Jesus. You think you got something new? You're deceiving yourself. You think you got something? You think you can fool God? Do a job long enough and you'll see the repeat. You'll realize what you're in. If you do the same job every day for 7 years, you'll start to see the same customers, the same conversations, the same everything. It's a repeat. You see the same pattern repeat. That's why when you meet a Jezebel, you know how she thinks. You meet a narcissist, you know how they think. You meet a legalist, you know how they think. Watch, when I walk up here, these people come out their door. Why? Because they're trying to vampire off of somebody. Just had a spider jump on this box here. When you meet up with a spider, you know it's going to act like the other spiders. It's all a copy, people. You're in a copy machine.